This is the Vaha X. It's basically the latest kid on the block when it comes to at-home workout tech, but at an eye-watering £2,000 and £40 a month subscription fee. Just how does it hold up against its competitors? Hello everybody, my name is Robert and this is Review Clue. In case you don't know the premise Vaha or mirror in the US, it is basically a large TV screen hidden behind a two-way mirror. So you can see both yourself and the instructor superimposed on top of each other. It's a pretty magical experience to say the least. Now, I know what you're thinking, and yes, I thought the same to start off with. Why don't I just stick on a YouTube video and work along with it? That's free, right? And yeah, you'd be right, you could do that. But actually being able to see yourself during a workout is a key advantage. Mainly because it's actually going to help you to correct your posture and ensure that you're doing an exercise in the safest and most effective way possible. You're able to see both what you're doing and what the instructor's doing and correct upon that. But also it is a massive motivator. I was finding whenever I was working out with this mirror that I was pushing for one more rep just because I could see myself and I was holding myself accountable for my workout. Alongside the normal live and on-demand classes that Vaha does offer, they take it one step further and offer one-to-one PT sessions. For the standard price of £40 a month, you will still get one PT session within that. If you want to buy more than you can, and things will start to escalate in price very, very quickly. Vaha is also working on a smart tracking feature, and this sounds really cool. Basically, the camera inside of the mirror will track how you work using AI and actually tell you if you're doing things correctly and how you can correct your posture. This feature isn't quite there yet and is still in development, but they are saying it will be released in the very near future. As I mentioned, these devices do not come cheap. There is a slightly cheaper option with the Vaha S, but I have the Vaha X right here. Let's take a look at some of those differences between them and you can decide which one best fits your scenario. The Vaha S comes in at £1,195. It comes equipped with a 32-inch touchscreen. That's still pretty respectable, but if you want the full experience, the Vaha X will set you back £1,950. That is a lot of money. But for that you do get a 42-inch touchscreen behind that mirror. Thankfully, both of these devices can also be bought on finance for up to 36 months at 0%. So it is very, very flexible on how you buy these devices and how you use them. So you're never going to feel like you've dropped a large chunk of money if you don't want to. Of course, you can buy these devices outright if you have that money lying around. This review will be focused on the Vaha X because that's the one that I've got. Now, actually buying this thing was really simple. I just went online, put in my order, and within a week, I had the device in my house. I had the couriers show up, two guys brought this thing upstairs, dropped it into my living room and said, "Do you need help setting this up?" Me, being the manly man I am, decided that I didn't need help, it was only a mirror, and sent them on their merry way. Actually building this thing was fairly simple, but it is definitely a two-person job. This mirror comes in at 45 kilograms. It's heavy. So myself and my partner got it out and we managed to screw in the V leg and just place it into our space. And I'm going to be honest with you, upon first glance, I wasn't really sold on the look of this thing. But over time, working with this thing for just over 2 weeks, I actually think this looks really, really nice and almost blends into the background and became a part of my decor. This is certainly not a small device though, coming in at 170 centimeters by 62 by 4.2. So before you order, do ensure that you actually have room to put this thing in your house. It's big. Setup couldn't have been simpler. You simply download the Vaha app, you go through signing up for an account and answering a couple of questions. There's going to be a spot where you get to choose your PT. And I'm going to be honest, when I came into this, I didn't know that PT was a part of it. So it was a nice surprise to be able to see a range of different instructors who all focus on slightly different things. Some of them are better at well-being, some of them are better at strength. You get to choose who you want, and then you're assigned to them and you can book your first PT session. I chose Leon, but more on that a little bit later on. Once all your account is set up, you simply choose the mirror and set up a new one. It will connect via Bluetooth Type in your Wi-Fi password, activate and choose the subscription that you want. There are quite a few different options, ranging from $39.99 all the way up to a couple of £100 if you want the best of the best, a PT session twice a week basically. I of course went with the cheapest option, which is the £40 a month, but I still get a PT session in that. And I'm going to be honest, that's pretty cheap compared to its competitors. Peloton, for example, when you buy the bike, you also have to have that subscription fee, but it is higher than what Vaha are offering here. And you get that personalised PT plan as well. Of course, if you're choosing one of these higher plans, it really should be chosen on a person-by-person basis of whether you can afford it and whether you think you're going to get the use out of it. Compared to a PT like you would get in the gym, this is actually still fairly well priced. You are missing that sort of face-to-face interaction and that in-person interaction, but that is reflected in the slightly lower price point, and quite honestly, I think it's very, very well priced. The device itself is based off of Android with a custom skin. It's fairly simple in its design and split up into 4 main sections: Home, Journey, Class, and Live Class. Home is where you will land when you first turn on the mirror, and it's basically going to show you how you've been doing that week, based on how many minutes you've worked out in a nice little graph, and on a week-by-week basis you'll see whether you've done more or less workouts. Under that you'll see what you have in your plan for that day. Normally this is PT based, so your PT will create you a set workout and scheme to work off of, which we'll talk a little bit in a second with their Journey. You can start the workout straight from there. Underneath that, you have the live classes and upcoming classes and your favourites as well. Journey is all about you and your Vaha journey. Basically, this is where your PT is going to create your plan and you can see a breakdown day by day of exactly what you will be doing that day. It's nice to see a weekly plan so you can kind of work around it and work out when's best for you to spend some time doing those workouts. The classes tab is pretty self-explanatory. It's 200 plus on-demand classes with a ton of different categories, from cardio, strength, burn, pilates, and even some yoga and meditation. I actually think that the variety of workouts you get here is pretty good and there is something for everyone, but we'll touch on the actual workouts a little bit later on. The live classes tab of course just shows you a list of live classes and what's going on and when. Personally, I think right now there are simply too fewer live classes to keep people coming back for more, and they're at very strange times. For example, 6 o'clock in the morning and 6:30 in the morning UK. To me, I'm still in bed at that time, and once I finish work, there are actually no live classes from about 6 PM onwards. The schedule is very strange, so if you manage to catch a live class, then good for you, you'll probably enjoy it, but myself, I just couldn't work around Vaha's schedule. I think actually it's one of the things that holds the device back the most. Of course, this is probably because Vaha has just launched here in the UK. They are still very, very new and they don't have the community or the real need to create a ton of live classes and content. As they grow, hopefully here in the UK, you'll get more live classes every day. But if live classes are a must for you, I really do think you'll have to start looking elsewhere just because of the limited amounts that Vaha give you. The operating system also makes it incredibly easy to connect up heart rate monitors and even Bluetooth speakers for the best experience possible. The speakers on these devices is still pretty good. They're loud but a little bit tinny, so given the choice I would connect them up to a Sonos system or something similar. And it is really easy to do. Just heading up into the connection settings and choosing that new device that you want to connect to. The whole thing just felt incredibly seamless. I feel like no matter what your tech level, you could probably get into a workout very quickly and very easily. But let's talk classes, because that's kind of the most important bit here. As I was talking about just before, there are a plethora of different workouts to choose from, and I didn't find myself ever getting bored because I always had something new to try out that perhaps I wouldn't have done before. One of my problems though was after my PT had assigned me some classes, I did find some of them rather boring and repetitive. I kind of wish that I had the choice to substitute a class, for example, because some of the strength and stretch classes I feel like I really didn't want to do or need to do. So it would have been nice to actually be given some choice there. Another problem as well is many of the classes I was given by my PT were actually done by the German instructors. Vaha is a German company at heart. And though this really didn't affect the workout, I did find it a little harder to follow than the English ones because obviously I just couldn't understand what was going on, so I had to focus a lot more on the person in front of me. But of course, that is the magic here. The instructor is superimposed above what you're doing. So actually it was really easy for me to follow along because I could watch both myself and that instructor. Not being able to speak the German language was a slight disadvantage, but I'd never felt like it ruined the experience for me because I could still just view it and work along. Along the top of the screen is where you can connect all those devices up, but also choose the music that's right for you. This is something, again, that I wasn't expecting, but now I feel like is a must for any at-home workout gear. And that is choosing your own music. You can choose from two suppliers, both Vaha Music and Spotify. The Vaha Music one is pretty cool. You get a couple of different categories to choose from and it will play some songs that I suspect they've paid royalties for. But the real magic starts when you connect up Spotify and you start working out to your own music. I actually found myself working a lot harder and pushing myself more and more just because I had my own playlist in the background. I almost felt like while I was working with Peloton, the music just didn't suit me and I really didn't vibe with it as much, and that actually affected my performance during the workout. So I think this is a must-have feature and I'm so glad that it's here. Along the top left as well, we also have how long is left in the workout and each of those steps of the workout. Of course, the majority of the screen though is taken up by the instructor, and it's the most magical thing you'll ever see. I've actually not experienced anything quite like it. I'm going to actually repeat what I said earlier. It was incredible to be able to work out and view both myself and my posture against the instructors without having to look around or move my vision from one place to another. It was very, very seamless. Below that main workout, you can also see your heart rate. And connecting up the heart rate monitor was super simple that came in the box. Personally, I think it was actually very accurate compared to my Apple Watch. There is no gym kit support here, so you can't connect up your Apple Watch and use that as a heart rate monitor, which is a shame, but many of the Garmin watches should connect up fine, and you can have your heart rate on the screen, and that will give you a much better breakdown at the end of your workout of how you did. During those live classes, if you have the privilege to join them, you can actually high-five people and motivate them, as well as getting your name shouted out by the instructor. Both of these are pretty gimmicky, but also a slight motivation to keep going. There's nothing better than your favourite instructor shouting out your name and telling you how amazingly you're doing. At the end of each workout, you're given a really nice and detailed breakdown of how you got on with that workout. For example, the muscle groups that you actually ended up working out, as well as your heart rate zones and your calories burnt. This is actually more information than many other apps give you that are very similar. For example, Peloton, I don't get any of the information about the muscle groups that I've worked out, so it's really, really nice to see here. It also gives me a better overall understanding of my health, my fitness, and where I maybe should be doing a bit more work. That's a lot to take in, right? Yeah, let's take a break and talk about today's video sponsor. If you have been following my channel for any amount of time, you will know that I absolutely love my drone, in particular the DJI Mini 2. But while flying it out over the summer here in the UK, it actually got a little bit too sunny. Yes, I know, it's strange, isn't it? But yeah, it was too sunny and I actually struggled to see the phone screen to actually see what I was recording or taking a photo of. So when RC Style reached out to me and said that they wanted to send me a product that might help with this, I just couldn't turn down the opportunity. And that is what we have here. This is the RC Style hood for the DJI Mini 2 controller. It's actually really, really good. Super duper cheap, and the link will be in the description down below if you want to buy it. It connects really quickly to the DJI Mini 2 controller over your phone and just gives you a little bit of a sun hood to avoid direct sunlight onto your screen. This not only enables you to actually see what you're recording or taking a photo of, but also stops the phone from overheating by deflecting some of that heat and sun. Thank you to RC Style for sending this out to me for a little bit of a showcase. You guys are awesome, this product is awesome. If you have a DJI Mini 2, then I highly recommend getting something like this just to help deflect some of that sun on those sunnier days, even here in the UK. Anyway, back to the video. So we've talked workout sessions, now it is time to talk PTs. I really wasn't expecting this coming in, so it was a nice little addition to exactly how much I was paying. So once you've actually chosen your PT and you've chosen the time and date that you want your first ever session, your Vaha will ring at that time, much like a phone or any of those connected apps. Answering it, you have a face-to-face call with your personal trainer. They can see you through the camera and you can see them and speak to them and talk to them. These sessions feel very much like a standard PT session. You'll work on a couple of compound movements, for example squats. The whole idea of this is so that your PT understands how you work out and how it is best to build a plan that works around you. You can actually do anything in this PT time. If you want to spend a little bit of time talking about nutrition, then you can totally do that. It is your time to use. Overall, I think Leon created a plan that actually I do really like. There are parts that I don't, but I think that's any workout plan really. And he seemed very informed and was very friendly and chatty. It was a really, really nice experience that I simply wasn't expecting, and in my mind is potentially a reason alone to start using Vaha, because PTs can be expensive. Vaha makes it slightly cheaper. Wow, PTs, workouts, this thing does it all, right? Is there anything it can't do? Sort of. It's quite impressive. Vaha has an entertainment tab along the top, where there are a couple of apps that you can use on the mirror itself. For example, Spotify, Firefox, TikTok, Instagram, Skype, and Zoom. All of these apps felt very, very gimmicky, besides Spotify, because of course you're connecting up to it to actually listen to the songs that you want during your workout. I don't really understand why you'd want to watch TikTok or scroll Instagram on a massive mirror, but the features are there if you really want to use them. I could potentially see myself using Zoom in the future to have phone calls with my friends and family on the mirror. It's a nice experience, but does feel rather tacked on. Now for my gripes, and I do have a few unfortunately. The mirror is incredibly expensive, going up to £2,000, and actually the quality of that screen was really disappointing to me. As we get closer to it, we can actually see it's an LCD display over a OLED. So actually the blacks are not black, and you get this light bleed around the outside. You can clearly see where the screen ends and the mirror begins. It's slightly annoying to me because I notice it, but for many you may not notice it and you may not be bothered. Getting up nice and close to that screen as well, we see a real lack of resolution. You can see each individual pixel, and it's really not that high resolution screen, especially when you're paying such a massive price. Okay, from a distance it looks completely fine and actually is very, very viewable. But for me, I'd have liked to have seen a much higher resolution display, especially for that price. My biggest problem though is the inability to take a workout without the mirror. You're paying quite a lot for the monthly service, and it just seems like an oversight that I can't log on to my app, choose a workout and push it to a screen or a TV or anything like that through AirPlay or Chromecast. If I'm on holiday, I still want to be able to work out. And I just can't do that with Vaha because it's just not an option. If you're traveling a lot, this is a real deal breaker, and if you don't want to buy the mirror but you still want to have those PT sessions or those on-demand classes, it would have been nice to have just the subscription service. So, do I recommend Vaha? For the price, you do get a lot. You get an accessory box as well that has a spray to clean the mirror, a heart rate monitor, a little camera cover, and a load of resistance bands as well. It's a pretty complete package. But I think it's a difficult choice to decide if Vaha is right for you. If at this point you're still saying to yourself, I could do a YouTube workout and I'd get the same thing, then Vaha really isn't for you. However, if you're willing to spend that slightly higher price of entry, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised with what they have to offer. Being able to see yourself and the instructor is really key for many people because of that posture correction and that understanding of the workout as well. It's also a massive advantage having a slightly affordable PT option as well, outside of the cost of the mirror of course. But if you're looking for a fun, varied and quite frankly unique workout experience, I cannot suggest Vaha enough. It's always kept me pushing for one more rep and to keep going as much as I can to be the better me. because I've got that accountability there. I honestly cannot wait for the tracking feature to come in, and once that's there, I really do think that this is going to be a must-have for a home gym. Anyway guys, what do you think of the Vaha mirror? Do you think it's just an expensive piece of kit, or do you really see the advantages of it? Let me know in the comment section down below, and of course, my name's been Robert, this has been Review Clue, and I will catch you in the next one. Adios.